First one. Okay. So thank you guys for tuning in to the first episode of Footballers Abroad podcast. I'm your host, Chigi Renotu, or just Chigi. And today, I'm glad to announce our first guest. This is kind of like historical. I hope one day I can look back at this episode and like, wow, this is like first episode. But I have a player here who I come across a few years ago on the pitch, and it was funny basically how we met. But maybe I'll let him kind of tell the story. But this is Joseph Taylor, everyone. Super applause. But Joseph, you want to just tell us a brief intro about yourself, and we'll get started.
Absolutely. You can add in those sound effects afterwards. That's some post-editing work for you.
Yeah, I know.
I'll quickly introduce myself. Thanks for having me, Chigi. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for thinking of me for the first episode. It's an honor, man. No, it's good to be here. I think we'll have a good chat today. Despite coming from different backgrounds, we've got a lot of things in common, and that's just the crazy world of football. My name's Joseph. I'm from Sydney, Australia. Played in 4 different countries: Australia, Singapore, Italy, and the UK. Wow. And I'm currently based in Brescia. I'm currently playing for a team called Ciliverghe in Brescia. And I'm 25. I've got almost 200 appearances between pro and semi-pro. And football's been my life ever since the start. It's taken me a long way.
Yeah. Wow. Cool. That's quite a resume. I guess I'll maybe take it back to how we met, and I still remember, like, to this day. I don't know if you remember, like, exactly how. I know we obviously played against each other, but I remember it was I think it was the first game of the season, actually.
It was.
I remember I scored a nice goal. A nice header.
I knew that would come out. I might
have to post that for the people,
Now I know why you chose me. Now I know why you chose me as the first.
It all comes out. Huh? No, but I remember you had like I was kind of pressing you, and the ball was coming to you. You dished it off, and I kind of left. Left one on you. Kind of like stepped on your foot or something. And he said, "Oh, like fuck you," or something like that. By the way, you can feel free to curse if you want. I'm not a really big curse, but every once in a while it comes out.
On the pitch, it comes out.
Yeah. And I was just like, "Oh, come on!" I didn't even touch you or something like that. And I saw that you were speaking English. I was like, "Oh, cool!" Like this guy, and it was just kind of like a instant, like, all right, I might have to, chat to him after the match or something. So, luckily,
it was a strange moment. It was a strange moment. I'm used to insulting people. I'm used to insulting the Italians in English.
Oh man, yeah, and, exactly. Sometimes they might say like.
Turned around, you responded to me in English, and I thought, oh shit, I got the wrong guy. Yeah.
No, it was the same thing, because I think we kind of like exchanged a few words, and then we got back into the game. But I was gonna say, luckily, we had won that game, because I don't know, I think I still would have come up to you after, even if we lost, but. I was like, I gotta remember to, say what's up to him. And so,
I think I was a bit salty at the end of the game, but I think I still came up to you, had a few words. It was a brief conversation, a fake smile I had. Yeah, that was for
sure. I'm pretty sure there's footage. I might have to put that up, because I always keep a lot of like random stuff, but I know there was like highlights. I remember we were kind of like dapping each other up at the end.
L'1-0 per loro.
But
I got some highlights that game. I think I skilled you a couple times.
I was
make sure you put those highlights on.
Oh man,
goal. I don't want to see your goal, man. Yeah, 2-1.
I was checking out because I was like, I gotta, for when I do put this together, I wanted to, make you look good. I was like, oh, what's some
Yeah.
of his good highlights? Now I was checking out some of your videos. I was like, oh, he's got one of me, like you're running past it. I kind of like shove you. And I was like, oh
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. You ain't catching me there, man.
You put on the turbo there. I was like, I'll let him go. I'm a striker. I don't really need to defend.
Exactly. That was just sort of to show to your manager that you were doing the defensive work rate, but you weren't actually trying to win the ball. That was just to show, like, yeah, look at me, I'm doing my defensive work.
Actually, you know what? You were kind of quick. I wasn't expecting you to, put a little distance of it. I was like, I normally bait people and then they think like they're gonna go past. I'll just cut off their lane. But you kind of like
catch them up, yeah.
And I was like, oh wow, he's got some speed on him for a white guy. No, so that was basically our first encounter, and then I was like, all right, obviously that was the first game of the season, so we were gonna see each other, the next in the return, second half of the season. So yeah, I think we linked. I think you guys beat us that game.
Yeah.
I remember I had
2-1, I think.
Yeah. You guys, I think it was like 2-1. Yeah, did you say 2-1?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you said we won.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so I think we exchanged contacts and kind of kept touch on and off. But so yeah, I was gonna say, how was that? How was that season? Was that your first season in Italy? What was your first time?
No, that was already my my fifth season
wow.
in Serie D. That was
So yeah, tell us,
how
did you?
Mm.
No, I was like, how did you get to come to Italy? Did you come like through an agent, or did you? What's your
Yeah, it was exactly. It was through an agent, through a contact. I was playing in the S League, which is the first division in Singapore.
Oh wow!
Okay. I just come from I was actually part of the U23s setup, and then I was playing some first team games. I made a couple games, and in Singapore, if you play in the first division, you can get some good recognition because despite the level being lower, you're playing on TV. There's a lot of recognition. Yeah. That was pretty incredible experience. But anyway, an Italian agent saw me, and I don't know if it's the same for you in America, but for us in Australia, it's like, football in Europe is seen as a big deal. And every kid's got that dream to play in Europe. So when the call came knocking on the door, I didn't think twice. I just opened it and went straight to Italy. So
wow,
yeah,
that's awesome.
I came over. I was just 18 at the time, actually. I just turned
wow,
18.
You were younger than me when I came over. Okay, that's so yeah. What was that?
You came across after university, right?
Yeah, I actually was in my last year of college, and I decided to come here.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's funny because I haven't even really told my story. I think that's gonna be for another episode. But no, I was gonna say, how was that decision at 18? Because I can imagine, you hear it all the time, especially at 18 as a footballer, you're still obviously getting to know yourself, and at that age, maybe you're still into hanging out with friends, pursuing maybe other things. But did you know for a fact you're like, all right, this is like I'm definitely gonna go. I'm gonna try this out. Because some people might, I would say maybe I know a lot of like Italian. It's not really common for them to branch off from their house and like kind of at 18. Normally they tend to.
Yeah, when I tell that story, people don't believe it.
Crazy, right?
They don't believe it. But yeah, I mean, for me, it was like normal. Do you know what I mean? I'd already traveled a bit. I'd already moved countries, twice. So for me, it was pretty. Like, you didn't really think about it too much. When I did actually make the move, I started to realize, oh shit, this is harder than I thought. Yeah. But I didn't really know what was waiting, on the other side.
Yeah. So what city did you first come to? Like, what was the first team you tried?
That was the problem. Yeah, I went to Mantova, which was in Serie C at the time.
Mantova, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then I after a couple of months, I ended up wounding up at a team in Serie D called Castellana, and it was a pretty small team.
Yeah,
it was in the Brescia, the lower Brescia region.
Okay.
Yeah, we were in it's near Mantova, we're in Serie D, and but yeah, that was kind of like a horrible period, the first 6 months, because like I had no friends, like I left my family, all my friends from Singapore. I finished school in Singapore, like I couldn't speak a word of Italian, like I don't know. I was a little bit ignorant. I don't know, naive, or if you want to call it ignorant or naive, I don't know. But like, I was like, okay, I'll just take it and I'll learn, I'll learn later, do it now and then learn later.
Exactly.
And so I did that. And
no, I think that's one of the things it's a cool thing to look back on, because I feel like a lot of players maybe it's normal to be a little bit, I would say, afraid, but kind of worried, like, oh man, like I don't even know the language. But I mean, that stuff, it happens, and it could be tough, or that could be like a make it or break it for some people, where they just leave and they give up. But if you have to understand, that's part of that's part of the process. Not everything is going to be rosy. You have to go through a
no,
little bit of
exactly.
things. So
Exactly. Like I'll be honest, like I was a little bit naive in the sense that like I didn't even think about it. Like I was just like, yeah, why not? I'm 18, I got zero responsibility. I got family,
the beauty,
I can't lose, I can't go wrong. So I was like, why not? Just go for it. And so I went for it, like just put all my eggs in one basket and went for it. And looking back on it now, like I think how naive I was at that time. I think like, wow, I could have perhaps thought about it more, but like I'm absolutely stoked with where it's taken me and everything that's taught me. Like now at 25, I've got the experience that some people might not ever have in their lives, having lived in 4 different countries, played everywhere, learned this, learned that. I think through adversity, you learn a lot of things. Yeah,
of course. I was gonna say. So what was like the you're kind of answering all the all the questions that I had, but I was gonna say
I can see what you're.
I was gonna say, I wanted you to touch on, like, how was it? You said you went through because one of my questions, like, what was like the lowest point in your career, whether it be you didn't really get along with the management, or not maybe having someone who could communicate exactly what you were feeling, because I can attest to that. Not having someone to really get you. It's one thing knowing the language, a few words like ciao, but sometimes when you can't express yourself fully, and it's like you almost feel like you're powerless, especially like if you're dealing with the manager or the società. Those I say, what was you said you went through a low point.
You described it. Yeah, you described it perfectly. It's that feeling of like powerless, like you just don't, you can't, because unfortunately, like I think people don't see football for what it really is. For us, it's everything.
Glitzy.
You really have to share. It's more than just a job. For us, it's everything. So you have to share some thoughts and some opinions, and let yourself go and express yourself a little bit. And you can't do that with anyone. So that's really tough. I think lowest point in my career ever was probably after that first 6 months. I had hardly ever played for that team. I had never played. Like, I didn't know a word of Italian. The manager had never spoken with me. I'd never spoken with my teammates, hardly. And the team got relegated.
Oh,
so like,
looking back on
that, looking back on that, I thought but at the time, like I didn't even deep it. Like at the time, I was just like, that's fine. Who cares? The next experience. Again, I was just like, and I think that was actually a kind of a good mentality to have. I don't mean, by no means was I, or at the top my, best mentality ever.
No.
I did wrong. But from that point of view, I think I was. I think that resiliency was necessary, because otherwise a lot of people would have thought of that and gone, well, look, I obtained this result after this sacrifice. What the hell am I doing? Let's go back, or let's go back to Singapore. Let's do this. Let's do that. But I was just naive. I was like, this is the route I'm going down. Let's go down this route. And then, it's ended up taking me to where I am today, which is, completely different Joseph to that Joseph, So I'd probably say that, or I didn't really deep those results that I was getting, but like, I think if you focus on the results and not the process, then you end up sort of crashing
the process, down. Man. A lot of people want to have everything like, the nicest road to success, but you got to take the stairs, man. There's no shortcuts. I think
No
You gotta go.
elevator.
You go. Yeah, I'm a little poetic today.
Okay, I like it.
No, but I was gonna say that's it's funny because you kind of we definitely have some things in common. I think I've
Oh
gone
yeah,
through
that's for
certain
sure.
things as well. I was gonna say
I can imagine.
I wanted to touch on one thing that always helped me is like this inner voice. Like I was gonna say, did you ever have that moment where you come here and I don't know, for Australia it might be different. I feel like you guys are kind of on the same plane as us as far as in
Yeah, we're pretty. I think we're pretty
USA.
ambitious. We're pretty open-minded. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean like as far as what global superpowers of football. I
Oh
said
yeah,
soccer,
sure.
but
Yeah,
for the Americans, they're like, oh, who's this American guy coming? Like, you guys don't know how to play football. And it's almost like this arrogance. And I'm like,
yeah,
I love that because I'm like, I'm about to bust your ass. Like, you don't know
yeah.
me. Like,
Exactly.
I get it why they think, American football is trash and
Yeah,
because they're coming from the one of the biggest football countries in the world, and you're like, all right, that's cool, but we play it too, and I feel like I'm better than you, and it's not even like I gotta prove it to you, but you gotta earn your stripes. And football is a make it or break it league. You gotta earn your stripes. It can be really nasty
that's right.
in the sense that you have to come in, you're gonna get knocked on your ass, quote unquote, as far as
Yeah,
it's competitive because you have other guys who are trying to put food on the table for their family,
yeah.
and
Exactly.
it's not just like, oh, let me have this experience in Italy and blah, blah, like
Yeah. No,
there's
you're
people
right. You got
like
to
the
go
stuff
hard.
the
Yeah.
stuff that I've seen as far as the the lengths some players are willing to go in order to play another season. That's like like I said, money for their family, money for them, and for some players, this is all that they have in the sense that they don't go to school. I'm not,
I've seen that a
saying this
lot. Yeah.
just to drag. I'm just saying the realities. A lot of
Mm.
players, a lot of people think that it's like, oh, you have this luxury. Like this is no, this is their life, and they'll
Yeah, this
go
is it. This is the highlight for them. Like I
exactly.
often feel like I'm fortunate that I have a certain education behind me and certain opportunities overseas,
Mm,
and so I
yeah,
feel like after this is just the very football for me is just the very first step. I'm very ambitious. Afterwards, I want to
of
achieve all
course.
sorts of things. In fact, I can't wait to stop playing football because I've got so many different goals, objectives, and ambitions. But
Mhm.
I do feel like a lot of people it is sort of like this is for them everything. Like it's all they got, and very much the same way it was perhaps for me right at the start. It was everything. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
you can feel that on the pitch. I think you feel that that's like there's that certain level of tension, there's that certain level of aggression where it's like
yeah.
if I don't get the ball, then he's got the ball, and if I don't get the ball, then I'm screwed. You know what I mean? Like then it's gonna be tough. So
Yeah,
it's either me or you, man. Like it's one of us is
yeah.
going.
Well, I mean,
I
it's
know
funny.
it's gonna be you. Yeah,
I
like.
think
Uh,
the
it's like
initial
it creates that resiliency, that mental toughness. I think that you can then take to anywhere else and apply that same mentality to
oh,
anywhere else in
exactly.
life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
that's unfortunately a lot of footballers can't make that connection. I feel like, but if they could, I think they could really apply themselves in other areas and
oh
have
yeah.
achieve huge things. Yeah.
I think
Mm.
why that's a big reason why I think sports is so important. I think encouraging kids to play sports at an
Yeah,
early age, it teaches you a lot of lessons that you can apply to other areas of life, whether that be in your
you're
job,
right.
whether that could be in your relationships, as far as having being a
100%.
being a good teammate, learning how to put the team first. But obviously, if you do your part, you can encourage others to do their part, and
Yeah, exactly.
it's such a I'm blessed that I've been able to play this long, and I'm still um, planning on playing. But I also have things I want to do after because you can't play forever.
No, no,
Um,
exactly. Yeah.
but
Mm.
no, that's funny. Going back
Yeah,
to
you're right. Mm.
I was gonna say
100%.
going back to the initial when you get to the new team and then it's like, oh, there's an American guy, and you could kind of hear people like, haha, Americana, or like, ah, Australiano. I'm like, what do they know about football? Like, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, I'm the guy that I don't talk. I let my game do the talking, and like, I feel like for the most part, that's always been a nice thing of people be like, oh yeah, this guy, he's business, like, because talk is cheap until you prove it on the field, and that's where people be like, oh wow, yeah, this guy, he's like serious,
Yeah.
like
You can
my
do
own
it.
thing is
Yeah.
like you could be the shittiest player, but if you don't have heart. Like you gotta, that should be like at least the base, you know. You gotta
Yeah,
have
that's something that I've
drive, like
learned a lot. Yeah, like I think in Australia we played without promotion and relegation.
mhm.
So, and same in America as well, actually, in the first three divisions.
Yeah,
We've got some
yeah,
friends
yeah.
in USL, and they won the league in USL, and they told me that they
So like,
weren't. I said, so what's happening next year? And he said, oh, we're still playing in USL 1. I thought, what do you mean? Like, and I've got
yeah,
some friends playing in the A League in the first division in Australia. And they're
mhm.
like, yeah, we came last. And then I was like, oh, wow,
Yeah,
shit. Like,
really.
how's the club? You gonna get paid? And they're like, yeah, chilling. We were ready to go for next season. I thought, like, yeah, that
Yeah,
doesn't happen over here. It's
it's a
cutthroat over here,
strange,
life and
yeah.
death.
It's a
Yeah, it's
strange
life and death.
mentality. I mean, not mentality, just you know how at least in America, a lot of it is franchising. It's the more money
Yeah,
commodity, but then again, I still think it's you know it's competitive, but it's totally a different you know. I think here when in Italy when you're one of the last place teams, you have that drive like no, we have to stick because you never know when you'll get to come back up. You know, some for some teams it takes years to get back. You know, and
exactly.
that's something you
Yeah.
have to really like. That's when people celebrate like them getting 17th place. They're like, why are you celebrating? But you're like, oh wow,
Yeah,
you go
that for
through
me
it.
was strange. I thought, like, why are we celebrating in April to come like 17th? I'm like,
Yeah, and
what
it's
we
like
But
you
then I'm like,
finally.
oh, like it took me a couple of years. I was like, oh shit, I got you now. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I was gonna ask, what do you think? Like, what's the biggest difference you've seen between, you know, playing football here in Italy and playing football from where you like in Australia
Mm,
or in Singapore? Like, what do you think the biggest? For me, I'll just kind of do it quickly. I know
yeah.
here Italians teams, let's say, are very tactical. They spend so much. That was one thing I noticed when I first got because me, I've always been a pretty dynamic. I'm really physical. I could run, but then I started seeing like just the other side of the game, like having difference of your body being this way than your body being this. So they're
Yeah.
very specific tact, and you know sometimes in training you can spend an hour doing tactics and then you play for like 20, you know, 15 minutes, and you're like,
20 minutes.
I'm
Yeah.
like, man, what the, come on, coach,
Yeah.
like, you know, then
We
you
gotta
start to
play
see
here.
like why they're considered, you know, the tacticians because they're very detailed and you know specifically defensively. I think it's hard to break down teams defensively here because they're pretty
Yeah.
much organized. But yeah, what do you
Right.
think the biggest? I think in America we're really like you know, athletic, and it's just like, all right, I'm gonna say there's no tactics, but it's like, all right, you know,
Yeah.
we emphasize on attacking, attacking, attacking. But here it's a lot more organized. I mean, everything is has to be a cohesion, you know. It's not just like, all right,
Oh
attack
yeah.
you guys when the ball comes up, you do whatever, and you know, here it's a lot more organization, I would say. What would you say?
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I think perhaps two primary differences tactically is just the
Hmm.
attention to detail,
Yeah,
specifically defensively. And you notice that when you tack against an Italian team, is that if you get past the first guy, there's another guy waiting for you. And
yeah, yeah,
get past him, there's a whole defense lined up, organized diagonally towards the
yeah,
goal, and it's just
yeah,
harder and harder and harder to get to the goal.
yeah,
So you really have
yeah,
to sort of come up with creative new things and try and find the right timing to make certain plays, the right rhythm between your teammates, to certain
yeah.
make the most of those little gaps. And the second difference is just the competitiveness, the fight. It's almost a little bit of and this is a bit of a stereotype, but it's almost like they create a lot of chaos as well. In
Yeah,
Australia,
it's a dark arts.
we're pretty down to earth in Australia. No one rolls over. You just smash each other and you get up,
Oh my
shake hands, and
gosh.
not together. But
I
it's a proper smash. It's not like a little pull of the shirt, a little this. It's a
no, no,
proper.
no. Yeah,
It's I give 100, you give 100. We see who wins.
of course.
Whereas over here, it's might fake to go in and then quickly pull your shirt, fall down and scream, and then my free kick, put it in the box, goal, we win, you lose, and then I've got food on
Yeah.
the table, you haven't. Like it's proper.
It's
It's
yeah.
proper. So like for me, I was almost too humble. Like, sorry, not too humble. I was almost too honest in the
Too
way that I
honest.
played. I was like, okay, I'll smash him now, or I'll give my 100% now. Whereas I had to just be a little bit more tricky and think,
you have to be, clever, a little more clever.
I'll screw this guy over. Yeah, I'll screw this guy over if I can. You know, that's the way you got to be, unfortunately. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, I would say like it's frustrating at the beginning, like because man, I could attest to that. Like that's one thing. And I'd say like in America, we're honest in the sense that, you know, if you get hit, you know, you try to stay up on it, you know, in the sense that you don't like even just diving. Like obviously that could be that's a kind of a tricky argument, but in the sense that being honest and like a lot of times, like if I remember in my first seasons, like sometimes I'd be getting pulled my shirt, but I'd try to keep going. And then my coaches, they're like,
and the manager will say, like, go down.
Yeah, I'm like, what? I don't. Yeah, I'm just at first it was just like annoying. I understood
to me,
it's now
so hard to do like, that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's against me. I'm like, yo, I can't. It's not even like
against me. I'm like too honest. I'm too honest.
But it's kind of just like I feel like I'm cheating myself. Like, wow, you little like.
Yeah. No, I'm the only idiot that will run past the guy and then get in the box and then I try and shoot and miss because the guy's pulling my shirt. You know, I'm really dickhead.
Yeah, they're like, why'd you go down? We could have had a penalty.
Exactly.
But no, I think that's just the dark arts of football. You see that obviously in every league, you know, especially
but I think in Europe they've got that history there. They've played it for so long. Just with relegation and promotion that they've refined the art of winning and it's not cheating necessarily. It's just bending the rules in favor.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
it's become an art. You know, I don't know if you've ever come off the bench in Italy. The last 20 minutes, there's about 5 minutes of football and 15 minutes of screaming and shouting and crying, and people diving and chaos, insulting, hand
wasting time.
Yeah. There's about 5 minutes of football, and I can't just wait to get the ball at my feet. I think finally I got the ball at my feet. It took me 15 minutes. That guy shut up. You know.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, going back to maybe your early times, who were some of your favorite players that you've you know, idolized or, you know, growing up? You know, who were some of the players you looked up to?
I mean, favorite players.
Because I have a lot, but I know I have one idol who for me was like my first time. I'll let you answer first.
Yeah, well, I think when I was a kid, I idolized David Beckham. My dad's a United fan. He grew up behind the stadium, so he's a big Manchester United fan.
That makes sense. I see you kind of have the same style too. I've seen the way you whip it. It's like very Beckham-esque. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But I mean,
I appreciate that.
He's you know, he's the hallmark. He's like obviously there's been a lot of. And if I can watch like an hour video of Beckham, just the way he would hit a ball, I'm like, and it's like, oh my god, for a striker, if you have someone who could like play you into space, like the perfect weighted ball, like I've seen, you know, I spend hours watching, you know, Beckham.
There's nothing worse than making a run in behind and not getting the ball.
Oh man, the amount of times I'm like, play it in, or like, but. Yeah, he had. I actually, you know, got to see him a few times when he was in Galaxy. I have. I went to the first. I
watched him as well, actually.
Game, his debut against Chelsea at Home Depot. So this is crazy because I wasn't even supposed to go to that game. I got called like last minute. I got offered some tickets to go, and I was like, yeah. I ended up even getting Solomon Kalou's jersey. I don't know if you remember who Solomon Kalou. He played on Chelsea.
Yeah. Chelsea player,
jersey as he was coming off, and I was like, crazy. I have a picture of it, but going back to Beckham, sorry, I just totally cut you off, but that was the first player who, like, I'm not really a starstruck person, you know, coming from LA, you see celebrities all the time, and it's kind of like just like whatever you let them be. That was the first like person that was like, who gave me like goosebumps, and I was like, wow, this guy is not even a star, just superstar. He came out, he was like, because he was kind of coming off an injury. He had an ankle injury or something like that. He was kind of
he had a lot of ankle injuries, but he had that swagger in his walk when you were just like, damn, that's him. That's really him. And like, he had that presence when he came out.
Present, just aura. Like he came out and he was the media were like just taking pictures. He's like saluting the crowd. I have never seen Joe. I swear, I've never seen so many women like screaming and like taking pictures. And I remember there were like women throwing bras onto the field. And I was like, wow, like, and it's like you see him on TV, like, all right, good looking guy, but he can also play. But just everything about him is just like swagger.
The presence.
I was
Yeah, you're
like,
right.
wow, this guy's
100% right.
this guy's
That was like he was my idol at the start because like I love the way he kicked the ball, like that technique. So I used to practice with my right foot. That
yeah.
technique. I had that natural curl as well, very Beckham-esque.
Yeah.
No one's ever said that.
No, it was funny because you said that. I was like, that's crazy. When I was watching your videos, the way you were whipping in, he has the same, like you could see the influence. But I mean,
No,
that's funny.
I was joking, yeah. But yeah, since I've grown, like now I sort of idolize, like I still love football, but perhaps I was so football like centric as a kid that now I'm starting to see other areas in life, and my passion for sport in general is growing further and further. And now I tend to idolize not so much, technical or tactical ability of football specific, but just the athlete in general. So like, for example, Ronaldo, his mentality is just to me mind-boggling. I'd love to just pick his brain and understand how he ticks over, because there's a certain level of just grit, concentration, determination, focus. And so to me but I can get that example from tennis. I can get that example from golf, from any sport, from American football. You can see all those, there's always those couple of figures that are just those top athletes that just perform. And that to me now is inspiring. So
that's
it's
cool.
Sort of changed over time. I'm no longer that kid that likes, football and Beckham. It's now like, how does that athlete perform now that I've had a career and I'm still going on in my career? I'm like, how can you do that every year? You appreciate that, don't you?
Exactly. No, that's good to say. I want to actually remember to go back to the performance, just because I know you have something outside of football that you're doing right now.
Yeah.
But no, I was gonna say my favorite, like my first real like idol I had was Ronaldo, like the Brazilian one, and phenomenal. And I remember just like, I don't know how, I think my first memory I have was the 1998 World Cup. I think I was like 6 or 7, and I remember just watching those games leading up to. So the games weren't really on all the time, and it wasn't like the biggest coverage in the US, but every once in a while, like on the Spanish channels, they would have the game. And something about, my dad would buy these tapes for me and my brothers, like from the library. He would bring back these VHS tapes. And I think there was one of them was like Ronaldo. We'd watch all of like Rivaldo, Romario. It was always like Brazilian players too. So Brazilian players, but sometimes, because my dad's actually Nigerian. Sometimes we'd have like, but there wasn't really that many like Nigerian tapes. There was a lot of like just the famous players, And I remember just something about Ronaldo, just the way he dribbled, like he just do the step overs. That's one thing, like I still to this day is like my main move, like a step over.
Yeah,
like
you've got that little double step over, haven't you? You got that in your locker.
That's my bread and butter. That's earned me my living.
That's your go-to move.
Yeah, I gotta pay homage to Ronaldo, one of the goats. But no, so that's crazy. Someone that like
he had that smoothness on the ball, man.
Oh man, and like you hear about other players. I like always like when other players talk about other players, and like everyone says like Ronaldo, and obviously he had the misfortune having kind of tough injuries, even though he was still balling, like, but he had those tough knee injuries. But I even watching him at Real Madrid, some of the goals he scored, like he would always, if he was 1-on-1 with the keeper, he would always like juke the keeper, like just had such a.
Oh yeah, he'd always dribble the keeper. He'd never shoot. Yeah.
Yeah, would never shoot.
The keeper knows that.
Yeah, as he's done like 50 goals of him, this little body shimmy, a little step over the goal, goes that way, just like thank you, like man, just total like legend. But so then obviously as you get older, even Ronaldo, like Cristiano, that was someone who my coach at the time was like, you got to watch this player. When he was at Manchester United, and like I would watch him, and he used to be such a dribbler, and that he would never really have the end product until like he figured it out. And obviously he had legends like Neville, Ferdinand, like Keane, who were like, listen, you're not gonna get anywhere by doing that. So he kind of just almost added, a new part of his game
A new
and
dimension to his game. Yeah, you're right. But I think what gets
yeah.
me is that like when there's a high pressure situation, he thrives. He absorbs that pressure. He's like it's like he lives off that pressure.
He
The
loves
higher
that.
the pressure, the better he performs. Like it's crazy how he does that. How he has the personality and the confidence to get the ball in that moment and say, "Now is my moment. Now I'll decide the game." Like we know what it's like, and we don't even play at that level. We don't know what it's like when you pick up the ball and you think, I'll decide this moment now. It's a big pressure when you know what goes in, work behind the scenes, the investments.
Of course. I was gonna say this is very unpopular. I mean, I'm open to kind of going into you made me just think about this. Now, this is my unpopular opinion. And I hate to bring up Messi versus Ronaldo because I feel like they're two different players. I was first a Ronaldo fan, but that's not saying like I love Messi too. But one thing I'll say, and this is just like a psychologically, I think Ronaldo in the big moments, he's almost like he can't not be a big part of the big moments. Now, I'm not saying Messi doesn't live up to it, but Ronaldo, I feel like psychologically, Ronaldo, that's where he separates himself. And that's not saying he's better than Messi. I'm just saying in the big games, Ronaldo loves to be like the headline. He wants to, whether that be, there's so many examples we have of that, whether that be in the world.
But it's without fail. He's just consistently there. Like it's I don't know how he does it, but it's incredible.
It's not a coincidence because you've heard of all the players who talk about the work like this dude is talk about dedication. This is more than that. This is life. And the one thing I appreciated and like I feel like is respectful about him, he could have stopped. Or normally you see a lot of players who after they've I'll bring up Gareth Bale, and I like Gareth Bale, but let's just say he went to Real Madrid, he won the Champions League, he won he's won titles. Then it's almost like
four Champions League.
Yeah, I know he won a lot. But I'm saying this is the first example that came to mind, but you kind of get that that it's almost like you settle, or what's the word?
It's like
you've accomplished.
You're like you become content with what you've achieved, and you get to the end.
It's almost like you could take your foot off the gas a little bit. And I don't even know if that's a good example of Gareth Bale, because I like Gareth Bale. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you don't know personally what he's going through, but that's the example, is that you get to a certain point in your career, you look back and you go, "Wow, I've achieved so much,"
I don't. Okay. Yeah, maybe I don't need to work as hard outside of when before I used to stay after training.
That's one thing I've noticed, even at our level, is that now that I'm going on 26 this year, and I've got I might have a youngster in the team who might have just come out of the youth setup from a higher level, and I think I've got this many appearances, I've lived this game, I've done this, I've played this. It means nothing if you don't put in 100% of your effort, because if you put in anything less than 100% of your effort, that guy's going to beat you, because it's dog eat dog, in a sense that like it's just life and death, so you can imagine at that level, when the deep it's we talk about millimeters, you can imagine how much you have to be,
Exactly. No, it's like there's always someone who's there to take your spot. And I was gonna say, do you feel like there's a difference? Now that you brought that up, I wanted to touch on that. Do you think there's a difference between the youth nowadays as opposed to when you were growing up? Let me, add a little bit more. I'll say now, with the beauty of social media, we can get to, connect with other players. You get to kind of, see a lot of things that are out there. But I feel like a lot of players are think too much about that, and it's almost like with technology, there's always it's a big distraction. I feel like for some, not everyone, not all the youth players, but it's almost like it's taking up their time. And it's back when I was, I would say, coming up, I was a big believer in training when the lights were off, in the sense that when no one was watching, you kind of put in work.
Yeah.
And when it comes time for you to shine, that work that you put in will show, and it'd be like, damn, wow, how did you get that? This is like, oh well, you don't see, it's not just I train when
Yeah.
Steam's training. I do
I love that.
outside
Yeah.
I feel like almost now a lot of the youth generation, they're talented, but they don't do anything about it. It's like, all right, well, I'm gonna just kind of.
You're right. I think I was a big believer in that as well. I remember I used to just pass hours just juggling the ball to see if I can get to 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. How many juggles I could do, just practice that technical ability.
Right.
And I enjoyed the process. I did it because I loved it. But at the same time, you also realize that it's those moments when no one's really watching you, no one really cares. That then when you come into a high pressure moment, that you've got that ability there to back you up, and it's a lot of faith. I was thinking about that just yesterday before my game. I was thinking it's a lot of faith. When you come to match day and you come on the pitch, you don't have to think too much about it. You have to believe in your work that you've done. You have to have that faith in the work that you've done. I think the youth generation now, I think there's a lot of distractions. So rather than kicking a ball outside, it might be easy just to stay inside on your phone. I even noticed that with my brother, who's 4 years younger than me. He definitely didn't put in the same hours that I did, just kicking the ball around. But perhaps he'd go and watch videos of players playing, and then he'd practice those skills because he'd watch a video on YouTube and he had it on his phone. He'd watch a video of the skills, and he'd then go and repeat the skills. And so it was a different level of interaction there. He'd still practice those skills, whereas I would just perhaps do it on my own and make myself little games like kicking the ball against the wall, kicking the ball against the wall. I'd sort of come up with that sort of stuff. It's a little bit different. You're right. Technology's had a big role, I think.
I just hope, my goal, because obviously there's football will be here for years to come, but I just hope that, people don't abandon, what it is that got them there. Obviously, you can have talent, but if you don't work hard, your talent could be, gone in a season. You might have one hot season, but you got to keep it. It's almost like you got to keep your blade sharp. You can't just have a blade.
That's so true. That's one thing. That's one thing I've noticed. Yeah, you're so right, because I feel like the reason why you're succeeding now is because you're working hard, and it's not like, okay, now that hard work's done, now it's all about success. That's why I don't like the analogy of destination to the journey to the destination, because that's not how it works. You keep succeeding because you're working hard, and as soon as hard work comes off, the results are going to drop off.
I think we've seen players who might have had one good season, and then they're like, oh man, I'm the top of the world, and then the next season is like, oh wow, what happened? I mean, that could be for a lot of factors, but I feel like generally, if you keep it up, if you keep that hunger up, and then you're safe to have to have the results as well. But
you're right.
I think looking at examples of the prime examples, Ronaldo, that dude is a living testament of. And I always whenever people try to bash on him, I'm like, I can't bash on him. You can call him arrogant or whatever, but if you work that hard, and he knows how much he's put, I'd probably be the same way. I mean, in the sense that he knows how much he's put up to get to that level, and people say, oh, he's so arrogant and he thinks all about himself. You have to have a different type of mentality to be on Ronaldo's level. The amount of players who backed him up, who said when he first got to Man U, he's like, I want to be the best player in the world. And this is among players, legends. They were like, you're best player. I Ronaldo.
This guy wants to be the best player. And he was in the showers doing squats in the ice bath. And people thinking what's this guy doing?
That's one of those man, that's cool. He got to that level. I mean, just the amount of goals he scored in different situations. But anyway, I was gonna say, you wanna before I actually don't even know how much time we got, but I wanted you to touch on. So I know outside of football, you have this thing called Total Performance. I think it's with you and your brother. Is that a little?
Yeah.
You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a company I started 2 years ago. When I think this is the third year now that it's been going. So I played for a year in England, and I decided to make the most of my off time and I decided to start my own business because outside of football, I have a huge passion for sports science, and I've studied it ever since I was a kid, and read books, and it's just pure passion, really. It's just really enjoyable for me. So it was basically just a way for me to express my my passion for sports science and for the various concepts that I had studied at uni and whatnot. So we started the Total Player Performance, it's called, and it's the Total Player on Instagram.
That's cool.
Page.
I was looking around.
Yeah, we do off-season training, so athletic performance training and injury prevention, and we do that for footballers in the off-season. And we also have some online training programs available on our website as well. But let's say that our primary objective is to work with athletes during the off-season and best prepare them for their season ahead.
Of course.
Yeah, we've had a lot of success. In Manchester,
I was gonna say, who were some? I think I saw Twanzibi. Was that? I was looking around. I just recognized. I wanted to ask. I didn't check, but I was looking at one of the. So how did you come across and get some of these clients? Because I know, he's a former Man U. I think he's in. Where is he at right now? And
he's at Napoli now. Yeah, he's on loan from
Manchester United.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, Manchester's a great place because it's filled with just a huge pool of talent. Like the level is so high, and it's so competitive, so competitive. So there's so many talented players and players that want to work hard to make the most out of their careers and to better their careers. That for us, there's a lot of opportunities to work with these athletes and to help them achieve their goals. So that's the way I see it, is that we can provide that intervention that then allows them that catalyst that then catapults them to
launch them into the right path.
The importance of that off-season work, working hard, so trying to best prepare yourself and set yourself up for the season ahead. And we've been very fortunate to work with players like a couple Manchester United players like Axel Twanzibi, with Ted and Mengi as well, who's getting some first team. Playing the Champions League the other day, Brandon Williams. So we've had
Williams. He was at Norwich, right, for a little bit. Now,
on loan at Norwich. So
he's still there. Okay.
He's still there. So we've had a lot of opportunities to work with some high-level clients, and it's obviously nice when you get that recognition from high-level clients that shows that you're on the right path. But it's also working with the semi-professional clients, the clients who might be coming back from an injury that's rewarding as well. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a top trainer if you have top clients, because but it is nice when you get that recognition and when you're able to work with clients at a certain level. But for us, it's pure passion. We go hard, we work really, really, really hard.
That's cool.
We get a lot of great results as well. Yeah.
That's cool to see, man. I wish, a success. You seem like someone you got an idea and you know how to put in the little ingredients in order to make it a success. So, I wish you, nothing but success moving forward. I just wanted to ask
it's about applying that mentality.
I feel like I can talk to you for a long time, but I want to, I don't want to keep you here for a while. I want to ask you one more question, and then I'm going to do this thing where it's like the last 5, and it's like 5 quick questions where you kind of just give a response. But I was going to say, you want to give any advice to any future footballers who might go abroad and want to test their talents overseas? What's a piece of advice you would give them?
Yeah, good question. I think in terms of maximizing your potential, stick to your strengths. So really work on your strengths. Make sure you work on your weaknesses as well, address your weaknesses, but let's really focus on your strengths, because that's what makes you a special player. That's what gives you value, and that's why a club's going to take you at the end of the day. So that footballing wise, that's what I'd recommend. Outside of football, or from a mentality, speaking about mentality, I think being ready to make mistakes. So not playing with your ego, being ready to make mistakes, because that is how you're going to become a better player. So not having any fear on the field, playing with confidence and passion. And through those mistakes, you're going to learn. And then when you learn, you're going to improve. So it's just that 3-step process. And you have to realize that doesn't go away. One thing for me, I still working on a lot is I'm going to be 26 this year, is the errors are still there. That's the beauty of football, is the mistakes are still there, unfortunately. I wish I could succeed at everything. And it's the same with my business, same with everything in life. There's still mistakes there. But if you can just understand that there's no final destination, it's just a long journey. And if you keep improving those mistakes, then you're going to have a long career or be successful in whatever you do.
That's true, man. I mean, you see people in Serie A that makes mistakes as well, but I feel like it's the amount they limit. They might have a few errors every once in a while.
Exactly.
It's kind of you don't really see. Obviously, you see a difference in quality, but
of course.
They limit their mistakes for sure. But they still make the same mistakes you see in the 5th division, 6th division. So that's a good point. All right, so this last part before I'll sign you off. I want to just ask you quick 5 questions, and then you can just give me a quick answer. So, favorite player?
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo. All right. Favorite food?
Oh, good question. Pizza.
Pizza. All right. What kind?
I like all sorts of different pizzas.
You're in the land of pizza.
I've been trying recently a gluten-free pizza, which is just mad.
Okay. Hey, that's fine. I mean, I'm vegan, so I kind of know where you're going. So, all right. What about favorite city in Italy? Favorite Italian city that you've been to?
Favorite Italian city? I'm gonna have to say that's a tough one. I'm liking Brescia. I'm gonna say. Right. I like Verona. I like Venice, but Brescia is gonna win it for me. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Then favorite brand. Favorite
brand.
Yeah.
Adidas.
Adidas. Oh,
actually, the total player is my favorite brand.
all right. Switch it up there. Okay.
Missed an advertising opportunity there. Blast.
All right, nice. I think that was I think it was 4 or 5, but that's fine. All right, cool. Yeah. So let me just you can just say bye to the guys. I'll stop the recording, and then we can on for a second.
Well, just take the opportunity to thank you, Gigi. I really appreciate it. It's great chatting with you. It's great to share these things. We've got a lot of things in common despite different backgrounds, and that's the beauty of life and football in it, because you can share so many different things with different people. So I really appreciate coming on.
For sure. I'm sure like this episode, looking back, I'll be like, wow, this is cool. This is an iconic episode with Joseph Taylor, currently playing and recent champion. Actually, I forgot to mention that in La Coppa Italia. So you got a nice little sentence there on your resume, on your CV.
Right.
Coppa Italia champion. I can't say that. So I mean, that's that over it. Let me stop this 1 second.